Good morning, Lourdes.
Good morning, Maria. How are you?
I'm doing very well, thank you. How about you? How are you doing today?
Good. I'm good. Yes. I got my workout in this morning.
Oh, I'm jealous.
You can get yours in? You'll get yours in
No,
later.
not yet. Not yet. Yeah, later. I'll get it in later.
Excellent. So, welcome back to Coaching Conversations. I'm Lourdes Sleeper.
And I'm Maria Sabio. If you're new here, welcome. We're two coaches who really, we mix real talk, psychology, some ancient wisdom to help you stop spinning and start reconnecting to what actually matters.
Yeah, this conversation resonates with me so much in terms of like I was definitely spinning at some point in my life, and coaching really made a difference. So in today's episode, it's for anyone who's been feeling stuck, drained, disconnected, like you're showing up for your life, but it doesn't feel like yours anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if you've ever caught yourself asking, what's the point or why does any of this even matter? Especially right now, today, tax season, tax day. This one's for you. So let's just start here. Have you ever had one of those days where everything just like, it just feels so heavy, like you're trying, but nothing feels like it's landing. And you start to feel, you just start to feel so small, like you could disappear and no one would even notice.
Yeah, definitely. I have definitely had those days. And if you've been there or if you're there right now, let me tell you, you are not alone and you are not broken. That feeling isn't a flaw, it's a signal. And here's a reframe that might help. What if that smallness isn't a weakness? What if it's just proof that you're deeply, beautifully connected to something bigger than yourself?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's something that this is something that's been around since it's really ancient wisdom, since the Stoics and the philosophers. This idea that they've been talking about, this idea that we're not just individuals floating around, we're part of a much bigger system, a thread, if you will, that a thread in something or some way more meaningful than we actually realize.
Yeah, I really love the metaphor of being a thread in a much larger fabric, right?
Hmm.
Than we
Right,
realize. And
right.
um, you know, we weren't dropped into this world by accident. We came into it with the world. So you're not just here, you belong here. We all belong here. And we all matter in ways that you might not be aware of and you might not be giving yourself credit
Mhm.
for, because our lives, each of our lives, ripple into everyone else's lives. Every time we touch someone else's life in even a small way, a small
Mhm.
kindness makes a difference and creates a positive ripple out into the world.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're all connected in our community and our families, and I love that metaphor as well, being woven in a thread in the bigger picture. But you know, what's wild or crazy when you're dealing with this anxiety, this burnout, this depression, it becomes impossible to see that you're connected, that you're one of the threads, that everything starts to feel so personal and so heavy that it feels like you're the only one struggling.
Yeah, and kind of isolation and aloneness comes over us when we take that view. And we can start to believe that our pain is pointless. But what if it's not? What if it's part of the process, like the messy middle of a transformation that you just haven't finished yet?
Exactly. That's the mindset shift from why is this happening to me to how can I move through this as part of something that's unfolding.
Yeah, and here's what I want to be super clear about. You don't have to overhaul your entire life to matter. You just have to start showing up differently, choosing presence over panic, compassion over control. And, we do this one little moment at a time.
Right. I think that there's so much anxiety that people are going through. It feels like we're that character, Chicken Little, and the sky is falling because so much is shifting for us. You know, yeah, I find myself thinking about that little book all the time. But it there's ways that we can ground ourselves, right? And these are things that you can practice to shift that mindset and just not nod and just go along with this feeling that the sky is falling.
Yeah. So one thing that you can do is pause. Literally just stop and say, I belong here. And say it out loud. Go ahead and say it out loud because your nervous system needs to hear it. And it's not just your brain that needs to capture that and feel that. Your entire nervous system can be altered by that.
Absolutely. And step two, ask what's mine to give today. Not in, a performy way or a perfectionist way. Just something small. Your kindness, your attention. And I really like your attention being present, a real presence.
Absolutely. And step three, reflect. Every night or even once a week, ask yourself, did I live today in a way that felt aligned with something bigger than me? You don't necessarily need to journal about it, but just give yourself like a 30-second check in. Check in with yourself to see and find the ways that you are living in this alignment.
This is really why coaching helps people, because we zoom out, reconnect the dots, and then help you see how your messy middle fits into the bigger picture, the bigger story.
Yeah. It isn't about fixing you. It's about helping you to remember who you already are and getting back into alignment with that.
Yeah. So, if you're hearing this and thinking, I'm tired, or I don't know if I can keep going, I want you to really hear this. You matter, not because you've crushed your to-do list, not because you're perfect. You matter because you're part of the whole.
Yeah. And your healing, yeah, it's not just personal, it's actually powerful. Every time you choose to reflect instead of react, or to pause instead of spiral, you're building something strong and steady inside of yourself.
Right. And I know it doesn't always feel like you're making progress. We all love to see progress. But trust me, those quiet shifts, they're doing work. They're laying the foundation for everything you say that you want.
Yeah, change, it isn't some big event. It's that slow alignment with who you're becoming. You don't need the world to bend to you. You just need to stop abandoning yourself.
Right. So, before we move on, right? Let's drop some deeper ways that, some deeper takeaways. So I just want to ask you, Lourdes, what would you say is the biggest shift people experience when they start to see their life in this way?
Hmm. You know, honestly, they go from feeling powerless and anxious to feeling grounded and present, like they're living on purpose, not on autopilot. It's
Mhm.
a full body shift. But, Maria, what do you think the part that surprises people most is?
I think one of one of the most surprising things is that when you have that realization that you don't need to control your whole life to have peace, right? That the calm comes from accepting you already belong to something bigger, even when life still feels chaotic. Underneath it all, that's such a big shift that we make, that we feel that peace and calm. We know that the ground is not always solid, that we're sometimes, surfing on a wave, but we get that peace. And I think that that's something that's really surprising. What do you think is the end result that people really, really want?
Um, I think you've said part of it is the peace,
Hmm.
also clarity and purpose. And not the flashy kind, the kind that says, it's the kind that says, I'm not lost, I'm just becoming.
Exactly. And coaching, it doesn't give you a new life. It helps you see the one you've got more clearly. So, before you we leave, right? Want to leave you with this. If you're not separate from what's happening, what if you're part of it and your role actually matters? If you make that shift in your mindset and start really embracing the fact that you belong.
Yeah, that's a real powerful shift to make. And so, if this resonates, let it change the way you show up today. You're not here to prove something, you're here to live aligned with who you really are.
And this is why we do this, not to give you all of the answers because, quite frankly, we just don't have them, but to walk with you as you remember your own answers, because the answers come from within you.
Absolutely. Yeah. And that's part of the work that we do, right? Is helping people find the answers within themselves. It's kind of an excavating of that. And so thank you for spending time with us today. We're so glad you're here, and keep going. You're closer than you think.